Good evening. You're watching the main news on HKIBC. I'm Isabel Wong.
And I'm Edna. Here's a look at tonight's top stories. 4 killed after gunmen attacked Chinese consulate in Pakistan.
Chief executives serve as pallbearers at funeral of godfather of politics Chung Sze-yuen.
And first major political test for ruling DPP in Taiwan in tomorrow's elections.
At least 4 people have been killed after gunmen attacked the Chinese consulate in the Pakistani city of Karachi.
A separatist group opposed to Chinese investment projects in Balochistan province claimed responsibility for the attack. Sahara Saf reports.
Pakistan's security forces swarmed the Chinese consulate in the port city of Karachi today after gunmen opened fire near the heavily guarded building. Mobile phone footage showed armed militants carrying Kalashnikov rifles trying to enter the consulate. They were stopped at a checkpoint where they opened fire at consulate guards. But there are conflicting reports on whether they managed to surpass the main gate and enter the building. Plumes of black smoke were seen rising from the building where the shootout occurred. Vehicles in the area were incinerated. Multiple people were killed. A witness said she saw men launching grenades at police officers.
3 men, all dressed in pant shirts, and they had huge Kalashnikovs. It created a very smoky atmosphere, and then you cannot imagine, it was horrendous. The firing, the shooting that took place.
The Balochistan Liberation Army has claimed responsibility for the attack on Twitter. The group said, "We will not tolerate any Chinese military expansionist endeavors on Baloch soil." The separatist group has carried out low-level separatist insurgencies against the Pakistani state for several years. The province of Balochistan is at the center of a multi-billion-dollar China-Pakistan economic corridor, a project that entails huge investments in Pakistani infrastructure by China. Foreign Ministry spokesperson Geng Shuang stood firm in China's commitment to the corridor project. He also condemned the attack and confirmed that all Chinese staff at the consulate were safe. Meanwhile, Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan also condemned the attack. In a tweet, he said, "The attack was intended to scare Chinese investors and undermine CPEC. These terrorists will not succeed." Sahara Saf, HKIBC.
Political heavyweights paid their last respects at the funeral of Chung Sze-yuen today.
3 chief executives served as pallbearers for the godfather of politics, Wong reports.
Among those giving their final farewells to the godfather of politics, Chung Sze-yuen, was Chief Executive Carrie Lam, Transport and Housing Secretary Frank Chan, former Justice Secretaries Elsie Leung and Wong Yan-long, former National People's Congress Standing Committee member Rita Chan, and former Chief Secretary Sir David Akers-Jones. Other prominent political and business figures also arrived at the funeral to pay their last respects to the political heavyweight. The memorial service was held in private at Hong Kong Funeral Home in North Point at around 10 a.m. Wong led the service, while Chung's son Gilbert and former legislator Alan Lee delivered eulogies. Gilbert Chung said his father had taught him to live by 2 principles: to curb greed and to treat others in the way you would like to be treated. Eulogies written by Chung's 2 grandchildren were printed in a booklet that was distributed to attendees. Lam and 2 former chief executives Tong Chi-wah and Leung Chun-ying were among 8 pallbearers who accompanied Chung's coffin. The group then made their way to Cape Coalition Crematorium in Taiwan for cremation. Chung was seen as one of the most influential political figures in Hong Kong history. He played a vital role in negotiations between China and Britain over Hong Kong's future after the handover. Chung led Hong Kong delegations to meet with British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher and Paramount leader Deng Xiaoping for talks. In 1997, he became the first post-handover Executive Council convener at the age of 80. Chung passed away last Wednesday at the age of 101. Sarah Wong, HKIBC.
Pro-Beijing activist Letitia Lee has pled not guilty to a corruption charge at the Shatin Magistrates Courts. The 54-year-old has been accused of engaging in corrupt election conduct during the 2016 Legislative Council election. The court was told Lee accepted more than $22,000 from 9 anonymous donors. The trial was adjourned until February 25th after the prosecution told the court it planned to call 12 witnesses. Lee remains free on bail.
A man was admitted to hospital after a fire broke out in Shomshopo this morning. The blaze happened at a residential flat in Fukwing Street at around 9:45 a.m. Firefighters arrived at the scene and evacuated some 30 residents. The fire was put out after 20 minutes. A man living on the 6th floor had to be carried down the stairs by firefighters. He was taken to hospital after suffering from smoke inhalation. The cause of the fire is being investigated.
In a bid to try and curb mega bridge tourists from flocking to Chung, pop-up stores will be set up at the passenger terminal of the bridge by the end of this month.
Meanwhile, port-to-port shuttle bus services will roll out an online ticket booking system tomorrow that will dispense a limited number of tickets. More from Sarah Wong.
Chung is bracing for another weekend of tourists coming across the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge. Residents have complained about the inconveniences they have experienced by the influx of visitors, including overcrowded restaurants, shortage of daily necessities, and long queues for buses sneaking through the town center. The government has heard the public outcry and was putting measures in place to try